Welcome to the 155th episode of News Dump, where we run through the hottest topics in the Lewis County news scene and discuss. It is Tuesday, August 29th. I'm local man Aaron VanTuyl, joined by Chronicle Editor-in-Chief Eric Schwartz and Chronicle Assistant Editor Isabel Vander Stoep. Jared Wenzelberger could not be with us this evening as he is taking a picture of my mother. We're joined in spirit by sponsors Summit
We'll
Funding.
have that next week.
And the Roof Doctor. And do either of you have any preambles before we get into our news topics, of which there are many?
I feel like every, 20 episodes or something, we should remind everybody what your role is with the paper.
I don't think that's necessary.
I do, because I think people forget or maybe don't know that you're not really in the newsroom. I don't know.
People forget I have a real job.
Yeah. I just
How dare you?
I just think it's I think it's fun to acknowledge that, because oftentimes when Aaron is pitching shit, he's pitching it at us too. Oh, I just realized
you did.
We said that we weren't going to.
Wow.
Sorry.
I think that mostly goes for the F-bombs that I tend to.
Okay, well, sorry
release.
for cursing. I have
The
tried
listener had a whole list of words.
I have tried
it was a
not to
hilarious
do
list of
that.
words.
When he is talking poop, he is often doing it at us as well as at every other thing that we're talking about. And we let him, and I think it's valuable to have the outside input. So I don't know. Just thought that would be a good preamble.
Yeah, just a reminder, I don't really work here.
Yes, you do. Your name is on an office downstairs. You have the title of associate editor.
I believe my child edited it to just ask.
That's the
editor.
only reason you ever got the title, is so we had that type of dexterity.
But
Yeah,
the
true.
thing is, by the way, I could be the ass editor now because
It's
I'm
true.
the
You
assistant
both
editor.
can. You
Yeah.
both can.
Both. High five.
Well, there's a lot of asses out there to edit.
So that's true. Aaron is on the Chronicle payroll, and he helps a lot with the sports pages design, but he does not work in the newsroom with reporters. I would say most of the reporters don't actually know you.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, and we'll keep it that way.
Burn. You also do the sports dump, which I hear is coming back tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to record our first episode of the 2023-2024 school year tomorrow evening in preparation for the fall football preview issue, which that's Thursday.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, yeah.
Big 12-pager coming out.
Could be 16 if you got
Could be.
if you got the skills.
We'll see what happens. There's still some negotiating to be done there, but I know Josh and Dylan and Cody have worked very hard on it, and I'm sure it'll be great.
There's also a lot of Mariners coverage you could put in there.
Yeah, we had a lot of photos. Do you want to talk about that? Your guys' little junket up to the Mariners game?
Yeah. Last night, Jared and my parents and my aunt and I all went to see the Mariners at home playing Oakland, and they won 7-0 shutout. It was sick. We had a great time. Jared took a lot of photos. He got a press credential, so he was down in the press box, near the dugout, and got this a really awesome photo of Julio celebrating after a home run, which I think AP or maybe it was the
The team
MLB
photographer too, yeah.
Oh yeah, got the exact same photo. It was really fun to compare those, and yeah, we had a blast. We do that once a year, basically.
Yeah, go Mariners. How about those Mariners?
So much fun.
I've been writing a column at least once a week about how great they are, and has never said anything outside of that.
I've definitely cared deeply about them throughout the entire season.
I have
Ups
too.
and downs. I was being sarcastic. I'm just really happy they're winning again.
I have cared. I think since my grandmother passed, one of the ways that I feel close to her is by watching the Mariners, because she was such a diehard fan, and I don't know, it's just really fun for me. It makes me think oh, how fun would it be if she were watching this, or what we would talk about with it. So the last 2 seasons, I've been really invested.
They're going to win it all this year. Can feel it.
Yeah,
They're definitely not going to disappoint us at the last minute.
And
would
we
never.
can go to the Lucky Eagle Casino to bet on it now.
That's true.
Cool. Any other preambles?
I do have one more. I just
Go
wanted to
on.
note, you got to bring this up with Josh on the sports dump tomorrow. But yesterday afternoon, Josh was running drills for his writers, for Cody and for Dylan.
I loved it.
He was calling in
Calling in
pretend
gamers, pretending to be a
gamers
coach.
from the front of the building, and then evaluating their performance.
They'd have to take down a box score and write up a gamer real quick.
Did he do funny voices?
I hope so, but I don't know
Probably.
for sure. He's probably gonna have running laps today to make sure they got the endurance for all 4 quarters.
Have
He's
him
going to
test
be
it. Have him do some drills on the podcast tomorrow.
Well, the real drill, they don't have to do it anymore, but the Friday night deadline drill was what you really wanted to be on top of, but it's not really an issue anymore. That was always my favorite.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we get to the news?
We shall.
First item, 2 candidates for governor visit Centralia. It was Semi-Bird, the guy from Richland that got ousted from a school board seat, and also Mark Mullet, who has never entered a single mullet contest.
You don't know that.
This is like saying you got 2 members of the 96 Chicago Bulls coming, and then Luke Longley and Judd Booster show
come
up.
on. That's weak. I think it's great that they both showed up for the Chambers event.
Yeah, they're both really interesting characters. Very, oh my gosh, this candidates is capitalized on the link.
Yeah, it's already fixed online.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for drawing attention to it
Sorry.
after the fact.
Sorry,
A little late for that.
And I believe it's pronounced semi.
Semi?
Yeah, not semi. I learned that from the video. We had a video that Chad put together. A question to each candidate: what makes you someone Lewis County should vote for? And then he posted the full one as well.
Semi-bird, is that like a parrot? Like a chicken?
I'm sure that he would be amused by all your bird jokes.
Like
black and an
non-flying
American
bird?
Samoan, so I don't think it's worth making fun of his name. If
You
you're gonna
think
make
I'm
fun
going to
of
make fun of
anything.
him based on his race? How dare you?
Aaron's entire diet is low-hanging fruit.
I don't have a thorough. This is a very high level on both of those candidates, and just a meet and greet situation. So I'm not gonna get super in depth with this. I'm just gonna say one thing that I liked about both of them. How about that?
Sure.
I liked that Mark Mullet has a daughter named Isabel who's studying at Western, and she's studying communications, just like me. And I liked that Semi-Bird has a very interesting backstory, and he said that MLK was his greatest inspiration in life, and he was born in the years before civil rights, and talked about how his mom overcame a lot of challenges. Very interesting, 2 very interesting people. I'm not talking about their policies because why would we at this point?
We got to hang out with Mark Mullet a little bit before the event over at the station. And he was pleasant. He's kind of a more moderate Democrat. He's not afraid to be a little critical of the party and some of the decisions over the last few years. I don't know. Just from an analytical point of view, if you're a Republican and you can swallow your pride and vote for Democrat, he's probably the one you would choose.
All right. They're both fine, I guess. I don't know.
I also see Bob Ferguson. He's sending his bio along. It was almost not his. It's almost why even do that? We all have the internet.
It was
you can't do
literally
that.
exactly from the website.
Yeah, I don't know. In the past, though, Bob Ferguson has not been above visiting the Chronicle. He's been here a few different times over the years just to talk as Attorney General when he wasn't even running, just to, civic engagement. He also did his Rotary tour around the state, so I know he's been around, and he's busy, I'm sure. But it would have been nice for him to be here. It's only a 20-minute drive.
He says it was a scheduling conflict.
I see.
And then the other 2, Franz and Reichert, did not respond.
All right. I thought you knew Hillary Franz well.
I don't know her well. She's also come to the office a couple different times.
Is it really Franz?
I have no idea.
That's how I've always pronounced it.
Oh, I've heard it both ways. I really thought it was Franz. We should ask.
1 L, though, on the Hillary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't add the second L.
Don't
Or
forget
else
it.
you have an L.
Yeah, you'll be holding that second L.
Yep.
You're gonna take it.
Next news item. Lewis County Commissioners vote to remove Brock from advisory board. Oh, no, not an advisory board.
That's kind of like what her response to it was,
I thought her
actually.
response was great. Anyway, Carol Brock is she the director of the Lewis County Senior Centers?
President of the board, I believe.
President of the board. She wrote a column, advertorial thing in Senior Dynamics about not praying or talking politics at the senior center, and everyone shit their pants, some people of whom were not even wearing their Depends.
Oh, come on.
Now there's even more fallout from it. At Monday's commissioners meeting, they yanked her from the Area Agency on Aging's advisory board.
Okay, but honestly, Aaron, what's more embarrassing about this is that you know the brand name spelling of Depends, because it's spelled that way in the notes.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was like that, but you
I'm
did.
an informed consumer who used to work at a senior center.
Let's see the waistline there, Aaron.
Somebody knows a little too much about Depends for a 40-something-year-old.
I worked at the Woodland Estates, and I've been threatening to
did?
buy. Yes, I'm going to leave the second part of that out. Anyway,
Threatening. Well, like to know
look,
what that's all about.
they should call them the deadlines sometimes.
Jeez.
I love the honesty there,
Yeah,
honestly.
I was
Good
going to
job.
buy them for him. He's the one that's always having health issues on deadline.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what you're talking about.
Anyway,
Flood legs, 2 years old, man.
I think he's talking about your knees, too.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Can't
flood
get up
leg.
and-
Oh, my
Deadline
knees. Deadline
knees.
knees, yeah.
Yeah.
Deadline knees, they get you.
We
Anyway,
cured those, though.
Yeah.
did you stand up?
No, it was just so me after deadline every day, they started to feel really bad just right under the knee. And like it was only after deadline I couldn't figure it out because I'm an idiot. And I just offhand mentioned it to Isabel. I was like, I kind of get like this legs thing. And yeah, it's because I'm bending my feet under my chair and leaning forward
Yeah.
for like hours at a time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've cured them. I haven't had them in
Great.
months. Thank you,
Awesome.
Dr. Vander Stoep.
Yeah, no problem.
Anyway, so back to the commissioners. Commissioner Scott Brummer said Brock should resign as president of the Lewis County Seniors Board. Quote, we don't have the control of that. It's up to the senior board, but I think due to this situation, Miss Brock should resign from the Lewis County Seniors Board. I don't see any other way forward for them to effectively raise funds and continue on with their program. Commissioner Sean Swope added, she does not represent the Board of County Commissioners when it comes to the values and things that we would want as representation on that board. Look, you cannot sit there and espouse your values when you haven't even tried to do a damn thing about the sheriff's office bungling a murder investigation, ignoring the victim's family, and opening the county up to an 8-figure lawsuit. When you have multiple victims' families protesting outside of your office on the street because the sheriff's office, which you financially oversee, is bungling things and not communicating, you can't get all high and mighty about Carol Brock.
Well, they can, and they did, but
Yeah,
I don't
and
have
they
a
look
problem
like a
with,
bunch of goddamn cowards for it.
Well,
They are.
I'm not. I'm really
look-
countering you.
This is just my take.
I'm glad Isabel said you're not in the newsroom. I do wonder sometimes why certain things get a lot of attention and
The
things
Christensen
like the
lawsuit
sheriff's
was an 8-figure lawsuit.
office does not.
Yeah. $20 million.
Is that a? Oh, yeah. Wait.
That's a lot of zeros.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry,
That's a fair comment on your behalf.
no.
Anyway.
I just was trying to track that.
Spoke so powerfully. I felt
It's just
I
the
felt
lazy, ineffectual commissioning. It is.
Well, I do think they're speaking on behalf of a lot of constituents. It's not like it's from nothing.
I was going to counter with that too, but I will say again, like sometimes when we're talking about email signatures and like, I wouldn't necessarily
The
include this because
library.
I know it upset a lot of people. But maybe throw the library in there, whatever's happening over at Centralia College for prom. I do wonder sometimes why, if we have that kind of, ability, and I'm a big backer of, you've been elected, so you can make your platform whatever you want, use your time as commissioner to discuss whatever you want because you're the one that's trying to act on behalf of the citizens. So I do share, maybe not that intensely as you did, but I do wonder why that has not maybe been a topic of discussion at some point.
When
It's
you're
like, let's talk
discussing,
about Aaron
like,
Christensen.
Yeah, the values you're bringing to your role as a county commissioner, and what's the one, like, I don't know, maybe coming out and talking about the thing that the Wall Street Journal is writing stories about in Lewis County.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? It's not Carol Brock. Not yet, anyway. I don't know. Maybe they're calling her up.
Brandy
think-
Cruz talked about her though.
I
Oh,
think
well.
there's just such a strict. I'm not trying to play devil's advocate or anything. Just that there's such a strict don't talk about pending litigation thing that as many attempts as we could make, it would just be met with silence.
They also had plenty of chances before it became
Sure.
pending litigation to talk about it. And
But
they
that-
had their chance and they just kind of whiffed.
Yeah.
They sat in a meeting and just punted and said, well, what do you want us to do? It's not like we could write a sternly worded letter or remove somebody from a meaningless advisory board and free up 5 hours of their volunteer time to keep doing their real job.
I mean, to be fair, what could they say that would make the sheriff's office do anything differently?
They could at least pretend to give a shit.
I get what you mean there.
That's it. It's yeah, and sometimes it is all
do you do?
optics,
I
and
don't
that's what your
Yeah.
so-called values are in the situation anyway. It's trying to look good for voters. Voters are going to be pretty happy if you get up there and do something about the ever-increasing number of unsolved murders that we have a admitted suspect for.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
It's just pathetic. Anyway,
I'm
shall
glad.
we move on to the next commissioner story?
It just made me miss power rankings a little bit. But yeah, that's just fine with me.
I think a lot of people also feel that way, though, by the way. Not just a lot of people feel this way about the senior center. Like, I do think,
Look, both, and I'm
don't
not
think you're
saying that
just
they need to
one person.
just not do anything about the senior center. I get that they felt they had to do something, and weird. It's just convenient that she's also the head of the Democratic Party in Lewis County. But you can do both. You can have this same amount of vitriol that you have for Carol Brock for something going on in one of the departments you actually oversee.
I've also not known Carol Brock to be like extremely leftist or anything. Like, I think she's about in the same arena as most like moderate Republicans in Lewis County are, as in terms of like a lot of stuff. Like, it's just a couple social things. She's like not that liberal.
She is on the fire board out in Alaska as well, which is interesting. So she's
Did they write a letter to have her removed from that too?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not yet.
Not that I'm aware of.
She's also on the board of the Lewis County Fire Commissioners Association.
It just feels like a lot of punching down. Like, well, we're going to make a statement by bullying this old lady. Like, get a life.
Hey, you probably shouldn't call her old if you don't want her bullied.
Well,
you're already bullying old people.
How old is she?
I couldn't tell you.
Did she have gray hair?
You have gray hair.
That's true.
And depends.
I'm old. What do you want me to say? Anyway, anything else there?
Boy, I don't know what else we could
No, you were
say.
fired up on that one. I wasn't going to jump in your way. You're entitled to your opinion as a member of the public who's not even part of this. You have a real job. Like
I'm introduced as area man for a reason.
And by the way, you and I, Eric, are also entitled to our opinions.
You are.
That doesn't mean we write them in every story.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I would say you guys do a good job of keeping your opinions out of your actual
I just spell
roles.
people's or give people incorrect names and jump your junk events at the fair.
Jump your jumps.
Yeah, jump your jumps. And
Sorry about that, y'all.
Jump your junk. That's what. Never mind.
Thank you. Just move it along.
Next item: Lewis
That's why
County
Aaron needs
Commissioners revise newly adopted RV policy after mistake. Is that another typo in that headline? After mistakenly increasing penalty for violation. So they adopted a policy for parking RVs on county property, which is that's all well and good. God. And then someone walked in off the street, perhaps out of their RV, and asked them if they'd read the code the policy references, and their answer was no. So they had to redo it. It looks like the difference was between a $250 fine and a $1,000 fine. So not a great difference or anything, but, do a little proofreading, commissioners.
Yeah, certainly not the Chronicle. That was Mitchell Rowland, our newest reporter, that wrote that up. So,
Mitchell, who was here as the
was a guest
audience
last week.
for the last episode.
Not a guest, live studio audience.
Yeah. Do you guys want to talk about the PUD and hydrogen?
Suppose.
Because I have news. The PUD has no official stance on the hydrogen facility proposal.
Yeah, that came after Mike Adler, PUD commissioner, had kind of a blistering take on the matter and was very critical of Richard DeBolt and Peter Abarno about it. And so we ran the letter because, it didn't violate any of our rules, and then followed it up with just a write-up, getting everyone else's opinions, which was basically, well, that's not everybody's opinion at the PUD. And then, Abarno says it is disappointing when elected officials use the media to try and create gotcha moments rather than communicate and work together for the betterment of Lewis County. And yeah, it was kind of a thing. Where'd you read about this? Because it's only been shared online publicly by one publication.
I read about it in the Chronicle.
What?
Of course.
Lynette down at the Lewis County News had a post that they were the only ones to share the letter and that it didn't count for us because it hadn't been shared on Facebook.
I see what she's doing there.
Which I just thought was funny.
Upon which Eric
shared it on Facebook.
We quickly removed it from
Yeah,
the
it was
Facebook
scheduled.
schedule.
It was scheduled, but I felt like at that point it would be a sign of weakness. So
It's
I was like,
also-
I'm not going to do it now.
If you look at the way that we have our Facebook page laid out, which you must do in order to pay so much attention to the fact that to notice that we hadn't published something, you must be paying attention. So if you look at that, you'll see that we published the letters from editors or letters to the editor in sets of 2s, and that we had just recently published one from nearly a week ago. Like that's where we were on those. And the reason for that is we have actual news to publish.
We have more stuff than I can share. I don't even feel the need to like defend it really, but we have access to and produce far more than I could ever share without just posting every 15 minutes every single day.
I
Yeah.
should probably like not be so.
No, it's fine.
Who do you think goes back in time and takes all those history photos? Eric Schwartz.
I don't know. I need to. I almost just fired up the Cronline account. Keep my name out your mouth with a Will Smith gif.
Yeah,
But I didn't. It wouldn't have landed.
No.
And plus, people would know what the Lewis County News was after that.
Yeah, that's true. I like DeBarno's quote about it is disappointing when elected officials use the media to try to create gotcha moments rather than communicate and work together for the betterment of the county. I feel like that could have applied to one other story we've discussed today.
Senior Center is what you wrote in the notes.
Yeah, I did. Also, I'm with Fast Eddie Rothman on this one. I have no strong opinions on the hydrogen factory, but please turn on the windmills to get rid of the smoke.
I also just feel like, as one thing that this story kind of briefly touches on, but this whole thing is still theoretical. Like, we haven't even gotten an official, like, yep, this is coming yet. And so it's kind of a non-issue, like, which is why the PUD doesn't have a real stance yet, because there's not actual, like, there's not a real ask. They're not actually saying, this is how much power we would like, and these are the rates that we are looking for, or whatever. You know, like, it's just still theoretical. And the PUD has had literally one 10-minute presentation on the whole thing. Like, that's all they've got. So I don't have any, like, I'm not an expert in this, and maybe Mike Hadler has done a ton of research, and so maybe he actually is. So I'm not going to pretend like he doesn't know anything about this, but I know that I don't know a lot about it, and that's why, like, I haven't had a strong opinion at all, you know?
Well, we're talking about local elected officials in Lewis County. You don't have to do any homework to have a strong opinion.
Oh, jeez.
This is much the same as being a podcast host.
Just always sniping. Stay sniping.
Yeah. I am.
You know who's upset about this is old man TransAlta. Once again, everyone with their own opinions about his land before he's even taken his cold fingers off of it.
Yeah. You know what? You can build a hydrogen factory over his dead body, which is kind of the plan.
Exactly. That's the plan. Yeah, and some other stuff.
We haven't heard from him in a while.
No. Well, I mean, he only comes around Christmas, if you recall.
Oh.
Yeah.
You got to play the Christmas music, and then he comes down and leaves you coal.
Right. Okay.
Sometimes booze, you know.
Yeah, we got booze last year. That was nice.
You gotta be
Remember.
nice. Christmas is coming up. Next item, on Alaska area residents set to begin updating sub-area plan for growth goals concerns. Is that another typo?
That does not
No,
say
it
that.
doesn't. I'm just fooling with you guys.
Nice job there, Aaron.
The county's community development representatives had a second meeting in Onalaska to kind of plan out their future and how to look with growth. I think it's a pretty cool idea. They want to keep their small town feel and not get priced out. And they damn sure don't want to look at a Dollar General or a Starbucks. And I think those are all good ideas. Some people were also concerned about being, quote, priced out of paradise. And they've already got 20 people signed up for their advisory board when they only need 10.
Double
a lot of
the
people
advisory
are,
board.
yeah, a lot of people are interested in this. And yeah,
And in this committee that they form, it's actually, they create the policies and like make them themselves. So it's a real
Yeah.
job.
yeah.
I feared they might summon a Dollar General just by saying it and then the word on Alaska, and it's going to get picked up by Dollar General corporate, and they're going to be like, we don't have a store there already? What the hell?
But remember
see,
the
yeah.
one that was going to be in Silver Creek?
Yeah, on Highway
And-
12.
Yeah, and then they like threw those plans out after that story. I'm not saying that we did it, but we did write a story that was like, people don't want this, and then they didn't come.
I just always enjoy the Dollar General news releases that come when they do come to your community.
Oh my gosh, those drive me crazy town.
They never say, they always just make this vague declaration where like, we've made a donation to a local school.
Yes.
And it's like,
They
it's
say-
PL. Like,
Yeah.
can you just say PL school? Like, come
They
on.
said that for the PL one, and they were like, a school within a 25-mile radius. There's just the one. I can tell you which one you're doing that for. And they couldn't have like spent the time to actually write the PL school.
They'd have to change the news release at that point.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
Just the single news release.
All right, next item. Fire District 5 continues search for new chief after terminating Dan Mahoney's contract, quote, without cause in June. He's been the District 5 chief, which is in Napavine, for about 4 years. And nobody, neither the fire district nor Mr. Mahoney, has given a reason as to why he was terminated without cause. But Greg Peterson is the interim fire chief.
Without cause isn't enough for you there?
I mean,
They're literally like, we fired him for no reason.
yeah, but I mean,
No, I know. I know what you
nobody
mean.
fires somebody for no reason.
I'm not in any way, and I mean that like genuinely connecting these two issues, but I was surprised like that happened and then they passed their levy. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying they're related at all, but those were two things that happened, and the levy had failed twice previously, I think. And then it cleared.
More
than that, I
Maybe
don't
not
know.
more subsequently.
But
I
it
don't know.
cleared the
But yeah.
bar with extra space. There was no,
Yeah.
there wasn't any drama over this one. It just passed.
All
It's
right.
hard to say. This happened to, obviously the headline says in June, but I think that we were waiting a while for them to respond,
I
or
think
maybe
that's
for
what it was.
Dan to say that he was okay talking about it or something. But I know that we like heard about it and kind of waited on it. So I don't know. I feel there's probably a lot more to this than we're aware of, but now people know it if they didn't, I guess.
All right. And then our final news item, before I open it up to you to contribute. Support sought for man who broke a vertebrae while jumping his truck at the Southwest Washington Fair. This is Trevor Graves.
Yes.
Was the only participant to take part in the event, which was set to allow participants to drive off a dirt ramp in front of the grandstands, as it was canceled after he jumped his Ford Ranger. He's got a GoFundMe set up because he'll be out of work for 3 months. He's got a fractured vertebrae, which sounds both painful and unfortunate.
Yeah, I appreciate the respectful handling of that. There's a lot of people mocking him and stuff, but I didn't think we just saw it and we were like, well, we photographed that. Why not just write up the GoFundMe? Because it's kind of a logical follow-up. And
Yeah.
my personal apologies for mixing up. I threw Tanner in there as a first name. I don't know where that came from, and I screwed the pooch on it. It's definitely my fault. So,
Boy.
yeah, I also called it Jump Your Jump. So, very, very imperfect. But if I could, awkwardly segue away from that into Best of Lewis County voting, which is happening now, there is a category that is very near and dear to all of our hearts.
Is it
Best podcast?
Roofer?
Best roofer, yes. And, we never take sides in Best of Lewis County, so I'm certainly not taking sides when I say we really need the roof doctor to come through. Head on over to the Cron line. Right on the homepage, you'll see where to vote. And just, if you don't feel like voting in all the categories, just go down to the roof doctor and just vote
go
for
to
the
the
roof
ones you
doctor.
like, yeah.
You can vote once a day on that topic. That's all I got.
Yeah,
Roof
the roof
doctor.
doctor.
My roof doctor spot, because they're sponsors here. For the
Yeah, they are. If you need a free estimate on your roof, call the Roof Doctor. They've been in business and locally owned since 1959. You can call them up, 736-0246, or visit theroofdoctor.com if you're on the internet. And if you're listening to this, you're on the internet. Anything else you guys want to cover before we go to segments?
Isn't Safe Cover Roofing like Jenny Collins' son?
TheRoofDoctor.com. No, I'm just joking. We don't really back anyone, but they're the sponsor here, and they have been for 2 years now, I think.
We couldn't be more appreciative of their sponsorship here.
So podcast version of me is pushing for them,
I get
whereas
it.
once
I get
these
it.
headphones come off, it's anybody's game.
Yeah.
Anybody's game.
I get it.
All right, we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Jeff and Julie from Fairway Lanes.
Jeff and I met Jacek of Summit Funding at our bowling center, so when we fell in love with this community and it was time to relocate, we knew we would be calling Summit Funding.
They understand that everyone has a unique situation when buying a home.
He had already helped 2 of our employees get into their own homes. The Summit Funding team exceeded our expectations. It was a seamless experience with great communication from his whole team.
Thank you to Summit Funding for making our buying experience special and memorable.
All right, we're back from that new advertisement. It was a good one.
Fairway Lanes, huh?
Yeah,
I've always been a big
Fairway
fan.
Lanes and Summit Funding.
I was
two of
just
the
there,
greats.
just at Fairway Lanes on Thursday night, and it's just so great. Like every time I go back there, I'm like, man, I'm so happy about what they did with this place.
I am.
Yeah.
Summit Funding made it possible. I haven't heard the ad, but that's what
It
I'm
is an
assuming.
ad, to be
that
clear,
it
it's an
said.
ad for Summit Funding.
Right, but
you know,
Fairway, the Summit Funding allowed Fairway Lanes to get to where they are now, which
And
it
you
is like night and day difference from a few years ago. Not to insult the previous owners, I know they did their best, but like it looks really cool. You got the new I don't know, the painting on the side.
And they know that,
paint?
you know.
Is that the word you're looking for?
No, I was looking.
The previous
not what I was
owners
looking
knew
for.
that. I think they said like this has gotten to a point where it's time to hand it off, and now look at what it's become, and it's busy all the time, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I'm just going to cut this entire part.
Why?
And in so many ways,
You
Summit
don't like us
Funding,
groveling before the?
For the bowling alley overlords?
And-
Calm down.
Yes.
and in so many ways, Summit Funding is the reason we are here where we are
It's
today.
true.
All right, way to bring it back around. Tales from the Takes page. I've got a first one, letter to the editor, headlined, quote, "Never Trump Republicans," end quote, "are even worse than the progressive left on national level." And this gentleman has some takes. I was along for the ride. He lost me at the, quote, "How could 81 million people vote for Joe Biden?" take. But then he pulled me back in with calling Never Trump Republicans, quote, "milk toast," and spelling it like a weird breakfast food instead of milk toast, which means timid or feeble.
You know what? I spotted that as I was editing, and I was like, maybe he meant milk toast. I don't know, so we're going to leave it as milk toast.
Well, the one typo you spotted in this edition.
God dang it. Oh, harsh. I had a rough week. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But yeah, this was
Comical, am I right?
This was a wild letter.
Yeah, this is from Theodore Even, and he has some letters. It kind of tells you where the current spectrum is at as far as like maybe the mainstream Republican, but like it's got a line in there that's like, they more than likely tune into TikTok Sean Hannity and faux news nightly, voted for Jamie Herrera Butler, and then abandoned Joe Kent in 2022. 'cause
I
he
would
was the
really
wrong
like to
type
know
of
where this guy
Republican.
gets his news outside of the Chronicle.
I don't think he would. I don't think he would.
He's just sitting there
pretty
banging
sure-
the coffee table. Newsmax hasn't gone far enough.
I'm pretty sure this is the guy who I'm not gonna like call anybody out specifically, but I am pretty sure this is one of the people who tweets at me pretty regularly.
Oh.
And in one of those Twitter threads where my name was getting tossed around recently, I was called a Maoist, or sorry, I was told I was holding water for the Maoist Marxist regime. So I'm not trying to like say for this person specifically or anything, but just I think if you are in this like plane, it's not like a regular political zone, you know?
Yeah, I think more than anything, it highlights our letters policy because this guy's letter would not run in any other newspaper, and I don't know if he knows that. I'd encourage him to try it, but like he personally attacks employees, columnists.
Yeah.
I'll usually give a heads up. This one was pretty harsh on Julie McDonald, and it's fine. Julie McDonald, Miss Republican prior to the Trump years, is also, she's like indicative of what he's writing about. So I don't know. I don't really want to address what he writes. It's just more like he writes it, he bashes employees specifically, and then the same guy is like, his letter hadn't run a week after he submitted it, and it's like, why isn't my letter in there yet? So it's like the sense of entitlement of the Chronicle letter writers is very similar to Chronicle sports readers.
Oh,
it's like you
yeah.
get this
Oh, yeah.
abundance of coverage, everything goes, and when it doesn't, you're just like, Chronicle sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get that a lot. I had that live video the other day with the
We were
guy
enjoying those comments.
with the guy on the bridge during that fire. 99% of the time that we post a live video, people are like, where is the information? Where is this? What's going on? It's like we're giving you the live feed of what's going on, right? So, it's not perfect, but it's also the news right in front of your very eyes.
And
It's as objective as it can get.
Yeah. So, but anyways, so then in this situation, I gave more than usual information because it was exactly where and what was happening, and then interviewed the guy who made the first call. Now, I went back and listened to it. It's not a very clear interview. You can't hear him very well. It's not perfect, but it's also a clear variation from most of the live videos we do. And I went through those comments and they were like, what an idiot. What a fool. What stupid questions. Her voice is so annoying. It's like, you just can't win.
It's the entitlement thing. You get something for free enough, and then there's one thing you don't like about it, and you get to attack, which is fine. I really don't care. It's great. It fuels more letters, and I don't know, Chad's really big on this, where he enjoys the critical content, like if it's a letter or if it's a comment, because it's just, all it does is create more interaction.
Chad likes content.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's just more interaction. That's all it does. Another funny one on that video, though, was them chiding you. There was a whole little mini thread in there chiding you for parking on the bridge when the video starts, and you're clearly running up the bridge, having parked your vehicle. That was something.
Yeah, I don't know. You can't win.
Some other letters we had, more people that don't live within a 12-hour drive who were very upset about Isabel's rodeo coverage.
Oh, I saw some of those. And
One
I
of
was
them
like,
was
we covered it last
One
week.
was from New York. One of them was from somewhere else.
Yesterday, I was a Maoist Marxist, and today I'm an animal abuser. Who will I be tomorrow?
It's something awful, guaranteed. No doubt.
The other column I had on here, I didn't go through it, but Julie McDonald wrote a column about an art show at Owl and Olive and how it is a treat along the river. And Owl and Olive, I haven't eaten there, but I've been to some shows out there. My brother's played there a few times. It's a nice spot.
It's a really cool spot.
Very cool little barn they got there.
I would highly recommend eating there, Aaron. It's great.
I will try to check it out one of these days.
I will say that I rearranged this headline a little bit. I did a treat along the river because it said a treat west of Chehalis.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had this feeling that everybody was going to be like, it's between Doty and PL. What do you mean west of Chehalis?
But that is west of Chehalis.
Sure, but
It's literally west of Chehalis.
Yeah, but you think west of Chehalis, you think between
Adna
the
and
freeway
Chehalis.
and, the Highway 6
godforsaken-
bridge.
That's what you
Is their
said.
signature meal an owl with olives?
No,
Okay.
that
It's
would
an
be
endangered
horrible.
species, you fool.
All owls?
Which-
Yes.
I don't think all
Find
owls.
me an owl you can eat.
I don't think all
Find
owls.
me one.
But
Go
I don't
ahead.
think they're endangered.
Well, some
Barred
of them.
owls
I think
are.
you're thinking about the spotted
The
owl.
spotted owl is the one.
Barred
you're thinking
owls
of.
are also endangered.
I don't think they
I don't
are.
think they're endangered.
Look it up.
This is
They might be listed on the Endangered Species Act, but I really don't think they're endangered. They might be threatened.
still widespread and common, according to the internet. Least
an owl is not-
concern.
Eating an owl is not legal.
Okay, but that's not
It doesn't
the point
make
you
them
just said.
literally. It's got a picture on it. It says least concern, population increasing.
That doesn't mean you get... Fine.
You think if I go and eat a barred owl tonight, I'm going to face any consequences?
Do you guys
I have
remember?
data.
The owls will
Evidence.
remember.
I'm certainly
You could never catch an owl.
Okay,
Your
first of
flood
all,
legs.
Aaron, you're touching on a really deep nerve with Schwartz because remember he grew up in Forks, Washington, and then secondly,
Save a logger, eat an owl.
yeah, do you
Grew
remember
up in North Carolina.
That's true also.
Save tobacco. Eat tobacco.
Very true.
also?
Spot on.
Do you remember how for a while there was this whole thing about no, it's not because of logging, it's because the barred owls are eating the spotted owls. Do you remember that one? Yep. Yep. That was a fun. I mean, they are competing.
Yeah.
Once again, Aaron has proven he knows nothing of the wildlife world.
Yeah, that's so true.
You
can't
you're not
eat
an
Owls
owl.
are
No.
endangered.
Eating
Bobcats don't exist.
Spotted
Cougars don't
owls
exist.
and barred owls are...
When someone saw a wolf, it was actually a cat.
Most of the owls you guys have seen have just been crows.
I have seen, I'm a bird watcher, like an amateur bird watcher.
Week of the week, baby.
Yeah, everybody knows. All right. Anyway, Owl and Olive, great. Julie McDonald's takes on art, also probably great.
You know what? I'm just going to say Julie McDonald brings a lot of value to our opinion
Oh,
page.
a ton to our paper.
And the main reason is not because of her nuanced political takes, which we also appreciate, but it's because she is a longtime journalist who goes to this kind of event and then writes about it and covers things that we didn't know about because it wasn't like necessarily super newsy, but she writes really good features. She knows what people want to hear and read about. And I will forever defend her being in our paper because I think it's such a value
Her
add.
personal historian angle, just that would be awesome to have for the paper because not most of the time, a lot of the times her columns are just about people she's working with in her side gig, which is to write the life stories of people in our area. And they're usually in their 80s or 90s, and they really have super interesting stories.
Yeah,
like most
seriously.
of the time. That and grilling Joe Kent over 3 full opinion pages in 3 weeks.
She does a nice job of, I don't want to say like filling the cracks, but providing extra coverage of stuff that you guys might not be able to get to.
Also, she has
And
a
do
different
deeper dives on it. And she does a very good job of like managing her writing output as far as like writing things that are newsy features. She just turns in as a column and then actual columns.
She also has a really different, like, personal community demographic than most of the other columnists or reporters or just anyone who works at the paper, because she goes to, like, the St. Helens Club and, like you were just talking about, interviews people for these historian books and just talks to such a different variety of people than we normally, like, will talk to for regular stories and whatnot. So it's a new voice that might not always get in.
Final plug for her. She's a big backer of the Southwest Washington Writers Conference, which is coming up on September 9th at Centralia College. You just go to southwestwashingtonwriters.com, and I know they still have room for people to register.
Good one.
I tried to register under your name and it was rejected.
I'm supposed to speak at that event about freelancing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, me and the Lewis Talk editor. I mean, I don't think there is a Lewis Talk editor, but that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. Sirens Banger of the Week. I've got 9-on-1 fight at the park the afternoon of August 26th, which was, what was that, Sunday? Somewhere in there. Multiple people called to report that it was Saturday, to report that a single individual was being assaulted by approximately 9 people at Washington Park. Officers arrived and contacted the parties involved. Ultimately, one subject was trespassed from the park for life. Is this our first park banning?
It's the first time it's ended up in the daily call log from the Centralia Police Department. So
I feel like they would have reported on anything else that resulted in a banning, too.
It could have been.
Probably.
So, again, I don't know how they're going to enforce that, but it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was surprised to see it was 9-on-1, but only one person got arrested. But there's not a whole lot. Like, the information we get, they give us a report on almost everything that happens, but it's just a few sentences. So there could be some nuance there that we didn't get. Maybe
They
just 8
arrested
people
the
were
one.
watching. I don't know. Yeah. That was the
He
joke
beat 'em up
that
so
I
much.
ran into. It was just like they showed up and just were like, all right, nerd, get out of here.
Yeah.
Don't come back.
It's illegal to get
Or-
your ass beat in this park.
No,
that
I
didn't
was
happen. That
I
didn't
was
happen.
thinking more of like the Bruce Wayne situation where they're like, for protection, and he's like, I don't need protection, and they're like, protection for them.
Yeah.
Could be.
I was
Could be.
thinking like a 3 against 1,000 sort of thing. you know?
I get that.
Yeah.
He was just beating the crap out
He
of
was
all 9
just
of
so
them.
good at fighting that they only picked up him, and it really should be like a 1-on-9 fight at
Fight.
the
No, I
park.
got it. I got it. That's good. I didn't think about that angle.
Yeah, that's
that one's
true.
a lot
It's,
more awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
We're not. Yeah. All right. People's Chamber of the Week. I've got 2 nominees. The first one, Alberto Isguera, a 2017 Centralia High School grad who organized a back-to-school event for free haircuts and supplies at Tiger Stadium in Centralia on Friday. They helped about 200 kids get school supplies and haircuts. It was the first time they did it. They had about 20 barbers in total cutting hair. He runs Toro's Cuts in Centralia, and this is really cool.
You got to
Big fan.
throw in, it's got to be a tandem on that one because Kiddin' Around also had their back to school event at the same time in downtown. And you had Nathan Rodriguez, owner of Nate's 98 in downtown Centralia.
Gives a good
Who
haircut.
was in my class at WF West High
Oh,
School.
that's cool. I didn't know that. But he was doing
he
the
went
same
to
thing.
Napavine.
So if he ends up the honoree,
he
it's got to
might
be
not
both
have-
of them.
I don't think he graduated with me, but he was in my class. Maybe he was, I think at least in the start of high school, but definitely in middle school. We went to school together, is what I should say, in Chehalis.
He was on a Napavine state finalist team.
Oh, well, maybe he transferred over in the last couple of years and I didn't notice. Sorry.
Wow.
I don't keep track of everyone, but he definitely was in my class in school.
Anyway, yeah, I thought this was a really cool event. And the other one we have is longtime Centralia teacher and coach Tim Penman retires after 44 years. I worked with Tim a little bit. He coached track and helped keep stats for the boys basketball team for a long time. And he was a nice guy.
I really like the haircuts one. It's just such a service to the community and those kids, and from both Nate and Alberto, and just seeing these local young people giving back is great.
I will throw one more in there. I'll throw Chad in there
Oh, yeah, why?
for organizing the back to school dash. I thought it went great.
Oh, out
Good
at
event.
I-5 Toyota?
Yeah.
That was good. I heard
was
they had
good.
90 people, something like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It was
There's a lot of
good.
people.
Emily
around.
covered it for us. So we
Oh,
have
and
photos.
didn't you win the 40-plus
Oh,
division?
that's why it's getting bro.
Champion of the week, Aaron VanTuyl.
That's right. I did win my division. Yeah.
Did
People
you
said it was impossible.
Did you lobby to get out of the 30 to 39 division after you were mistakenly placed there?
I was like, I'm not in my 30s.
You didn't want to
lobbying.
compete with the younger folks.
I wanted to compete with the people my age. Yes.
So how many 49-year-old smokers did you beat?
I don't know. I didn't ask him before. It
Was
like,
there
show me
anyone
your
else in your
ID and
division?
cigarettes. Yeah, there was other people in there.
All right.
More than a dozen.
Probably. Actually, I don't know.
We'll find out and report next week.
How
you can,
old are
you? Go
you?
ahead. I am 40.
Oh.
Which is why I was mistaken for being in my 30s. Anyway, yeah, it was a good event. Haircut guy.
Guys.
Alberto Isguero and Nate Rodriguez.
Yeah, both of them. And
wonders.
there was 20 other barbers who helped
Yeah,
out.
a lot of
and
barbers did some good work.
They didn't get headliners, but they did help.
Thank you, barbers.
Yeah.
Facebook
I didn't even know we
comments-
had 20 barbers around here.
I didn't
That's a lot of
They're
barbers.
around.
Yeah.
Facebook comments of the week. On photos of the Hub City Car Show, this commenter writes, "Muscle cars are a national treasure, unlike liberalism, which is destructive to our nation."
I gotta say on this,
Sir, go outside.
on this guy, it's like occasionally we get like these. I don't know. They're like cluster bombs of Facebook comments. Like someone just liked the page, and so they'll like 6 different things. So you could find a version of that comment on every news item for 6 hours.
Yeah.
It was fun. It made me chuckle.
On the Jump Your Junk winner post, this guy writes, "This event is a terrible idea. Let's build a jump and launch our daily commuters and junk cars off it. What's the worst that could happen? Improper suspension, seats, harnesses, everything else you would need to be protected for something like this are not on your junk cars. If you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough and well insured. Maybe the Southwest Washington Fair should pitch in to help the families since it was their brilliant idea, an event that allowed the provider of a family of 5 to do something so reckless." And then another commenter says, with quote marks around it, "Trying to flee Boss Hoss, that Graves boy got himself into a whole heap of trouble."
That's a pretty good comment.
His
That's not
self
bad.
is really good. That
Yeah.
is the cherry on top.
Anything else you guys would like to bring up before we close this out?
Yes. I'm working on a story right now. Was just finishing up before the podcast about Blakesley Junction. If you hear it on the podcast, it'll be us breaking this to you probably. But within the next week, they will have that encampment cleared out because WSDOT just sold that land.
Who did they sell it to?
Rainier Rail, which is a very young railroad company that has about 40 miles in the area, basically from here to they deliver to Wilcox Farms, I learned today. And they have they have trackage rights is what they're called. I don't know exactly what it means, but they can use the Puget Sound and Pacific Railroad line. So they go through Blakesley Junction already. So I'm not sure I don't think it means they've like bought that railroad, but just the land abutting it.
So you're telling me the Eggman himself, J.T. Wilcox, is fronted a company to get into camp busting?
No, I don't think it has to do with him.
Sounds like a conspiracy.
I don't think it actually has to do with him, other than that they also go there and like to the McKenna-Yelm area.
I mean, how many people could possibly work at an egg farm? Eggs are small.
A
It's a
lot.
massive egg farm.
I mean, it's like so many chickens.
I assume he personally packs every carton. Anyway,
I don't know. I might have talked about this on the podcast already, but earlier this year we wrote this story about JT like stepping down from his position from the House Republicans because he'd basically like had enough of the shit, is kind of how he put it. And so, and I'm not just trying to like curse for no reason. Remember, I'm just saying that because I think it's how he said it. And so the lead for my story was like growing up on an egg farm. He has had his fair share of manure, but being in the House Republicans leader or whatever was like he had enough. And then shortly after, his like PIO contacted me and said like, oh, can I speak to Isabel about that story? So I called back and I was like really nervous that they were going to tell me to take down the cursing. And then he was like, we just wanted you to say like that his dad founded the company, not him. And I was like, oh, no problem. I'll change that. Like they were very down with it. I thought it was cool.
yeah, that is cool. Anything else?
We'll have a
mention.
report on fires tomorrow because there's a lot of fires. It's gotten a little wetter, so hopefully
Yeah,
that's
why aren't
good,
you
but-
talking about the fire out by Doty?
Yeah, that's what
You refuse to
everyone
cover
in
it.
Adna has been asking me
I heard
via
of
email.
my home is in my
You've had
traditional home is in
multiple
danger.
stories. It is not close to anything right now. I do know that some people that live near the fire are worried. There's even an employee here that mentioned it about potentially having to evacuate. But the official word from emergency management so far is they shouldn't worry, and it's not close to anything. It's about 50 acres, and we're saying like north of Doty, right?
Yeah.
And near PL. It's kind of in the forest between, it's DNR land between Oakville and PL. Like Oakville's
Yeah.
getting a lot of the smoke. At least it was. So.
There isn't like an immediate threat to the public, but I do know just like after seeing the Goat Rocks fire and having been living in Western Washington in the last couple of years, like
It can get up and go.
Yeah, first of all, be prepared. And secondly, like just living that close to a big fire sucks because they're under a bunch of smoke. I saw on Facebook recently that people in Doty were seeing smoke and ash like raining on their lawns. That sucks. Like it's not easy.
Constant aircraft overhead as well.
Yeah. And so just to continue to be on that as a news organization is important. And obviously we take it very seriously. It's like kind of our main thing is caring about natural disasters around here, AKA flood. But yeah, so.
But
we'll
enough about the
definitely-
county commissioners.
We'll definitely continue to cover it.
All right, we're going to close it out there. If you like what you've heard, leave a podcast or leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
Or leave a podcast if you like. We'll listen.
Yeah, send us a podcast. Maybe we'll like it. We're sponsored by Summit Funding and The Roof Doctor, and we will talk to you next week. If you are listening to this on Wednesday, please don't just delete the episode of Sports Dump that appears in your feed. Click the I already listened to this button.
There we go.
Thank you.